Hey everybody, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, nothing special going on here. Hello. Hello. So please please hit the like and subscribe, let me know I'm doing a good job. It's just me reading books, talking books, no special effects, none of that stuff going on. So got this book and it's not my usual wheelhouse, so I'm a little on the shelf about it. I don't think I'll read the next one. It was a little much for me. It's good though. It's good. It flows good, but I have a ton of issues. It took extra long to read. It took about 5 hours to read, which is unusual for me. It also is book 2 in the series. I originally thought it was book 1, and that's why I started reading it. And because I didn't read book 1, I wasn't familiar with the characters, and we didn't get an appropriate, for me, just my personal being, I did not get enough of an introduction to these characters, to who they were to each other, or what it was explained as the book goes on, but I wanted a little bit more of a walk in the park in the beginning, and I didn't get it. We just jumped into it, and I would have felt better if I had read the first book, and I didn't, but I was too far invested in this book to go back and read the book, because sometimes I will, like if I'm only 50 pages in or a couple of chapters in, I'll like, oh no, this is the second book. I need to go back and do the first one first, and then I'll do the first one, and then come back to the second one. But the way this book was set up, I was just too far invested, and I didn't want to have to wait for the first one. So I went ahead and continued reading this, and so if you've if you have listened or watched my previous podcast, especially by J.A. Jance, we're doing Patterson right now, and we're going to move on to Catherine Coulter after that. And don't forget Flashback Mondays and If Then Fridays and Star Trek Fridays. But if you have watched my previous videos and stuff, you will know that, like with J.A. Jance, when she did the combo character books, she would flip POV in the middle of the chapter, and I just didn't like that. When Patterson does different POVs, each one gets a different chapter. Even if it's only a paragraph, that's the entire chapter, just the one paragraph period, and next chapter, next person. This book flipped back and forth so often to multiple cases. Where's my sheet? So there's over 34, well, there's more than 34. I gave up counting at 34. As you know, I do a character list when I start a new series, and I'm onslaughted with characters in the beginning of the book, and I want to be able to keep track of them so that I know who's important and who's not, who to pay attention to and who not to pay attention to. And there was just so much in this book, so many details, so many stories. It was a little overwhelming for me. And I was trying to take tons and tons of notes, and I just had to give up because it was so overwhelming. And I'm pretty sure that most of those, I didn't need to recite all those details to you. To get those details, you can read the book yourself. So like I said, it took me over 5 hours to read. There are multiple points of view, character points of view in each and every chapter. The chapters are lengthy, which in some authors I like. Some authors I could use a 5,000 page book, I wouldn't care. So we kind of jump into the story, and it's got, I should come back and tell you that it's Mortmain Hall, Martin Edwards, and we kind of jump into the story like in progress. I felt like, let's say the movie of the week started at 9 and you came in at 9:30, and it takes you a while to catch up. And maybe at a later date you'll go back and rewatch the beginning of it. So to see what's going on there. It was just so multi-layered, so many details, so many plots. There was your main plot, but then it had subplots, many subplots underneath it. So we've got to get you to the doctor. Um, it's just lots and lots of subplots. Has that Agatha Christie, Edgar Allan Poe feel to it. A very multi-layered, so many characters. We had Rachel, we had JACOB FLINT, our reporter, who's a bigger character. Rachel is your bigger main, and then you have JACOB FLINT and Clive Danskin and Lenora Dubell, and the Trumans are her servants. We're not really given a story. Doodle, his friend, we don't see on stage at all. We hear about a lot. Then we do Jacob does a lot of interviews with Alexander Muddle, Chains Connell, and then he's investigating the Willow Bungalow murders, and it's all this stuff. It's so layered and so multi-plot. It was hard for me to keep track of. And then Martin does a very Agatha Christie type feeling to it. He invites all the characters to dinner, and they all sit down at the dinner. It's like, everybody gets on that Oriental train, and then we get some more stuff, and they all show up. And so it's like, outside MORTMAIN Hall, a man and woman descended from a taxi. A maid consulted with Dubell's elderly butler about the destination of their luggage. Clive Danskin was wearing Oxford bags and carrying a straw boater. His gold cufflinks winked in the sun. His demeanor was jaunty, as if he were treating the weekend as a trip to the seaside. Sylvie Gorey cut a striking figure, tall and blonde, with high cheekbones and a regal bearing. Her flowing pastel green summer dress was the epitome of chic. Rachel detected the stylish hallmarks of Elsa's chaperone. Lenora emerged from the house as Henry Roland approaches the newcomers, hand outstretched. Rachel joined the group, and the hostess made their introductions. Dinner is at 6:30, Lenora said. Quite early, I know, but my husband tires easily. He's resting at present, but will join us for sherry before we dine. Roland was sweating. He dabbed his forehead with a handkerchief. Still damn close to boiling point. Think I'll have bath, try and cool down. Lenora smiled. I'm not surprised your temperature rose, taking a walk with such a beautiful young woman. Roland gave a curt nod and excused himself. Lenora and Sylvie Gorey followed him inside, leaving Clyde Daskin to contemplate Rachel with undisguised interest. What brings you to Mortmain Hall, Miss Savernake, or Rachel, if I may be so bold? We don't want to stand on formality, do we? Lenora made this little party sound irresistible, she said. I'm no social butterfly, but the guest list is very select. I'll say, Danskin's grin made him look like a schoolboy. His technique with women, Rachel observed, was to be disarmingly frank. Roland was accused of murder, and Sylvie, Miss Gorey, and I stood trial at Old Bailey. I'm unsure about etiquette, but I offer congratulations on your acquittal or commiserate because of the injustice of the charge. Very good, Danskin chortled. You have a porky sense of humor, Rachel admirable. I do appreciate wit in a lady. You're not working today, I see. He stroked his chin. To tell you the truth, I'm a free agent. The company didn't enjoy the publicity about the trial. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't be. The change suits me to the ground. He beamed. Time to put down a few roots. I want to set up an outfit of my own. How brave, Rachel said. Every newspaper I read tells me that businesses are collapsing across the civilized world. Tycoons queue up to jump from skyscrapers. Danskin laughed, slump or no slump. Ladies will always love silk stockings. Depend upon it. I'm aiming to compete with my old firm. Reckon I can teach them a thing or two about salesmanship. Not that I want to blow up my own trumpet. And the rest of them, one by one, the 10 little Indians, all of your suspects, all of your characters show up for dinner. And there's a couple of different climaxes at the end. It's a really interesting book. I just don't like the fact that the POV changed so many times and there was so much to pay attention to. And I guess if I hadn't been trying to pay attention to all the details so I could report back here and make note of all the stuff that happened, I might have enjoyed the book a little bit more. But I was too busy trying to pay attention to all the details to follow the storyline. It's very complicated, very multi-layered. Everybody gets talking to everybody, and everybody's trying to shut the story down. And so many people have their hands. It's just so layered. Your main plot, and then your multiple subplots, and they all tie back into the main plot. And you just have to read it and enjoy it. It's a really good book. It's got multiple uh, reviews in here. Like I said, I think it would have been better for me if I had read the first book first, but we'll see what happens. So check it out, MORTMAIN Hall, Martin Edwards. And let me know if you like it. And have a good day. Thank you.